My brother, I've been thinking about something. We've talked about this. Let's give the people more. Oh, they're gonna it up.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of the War Zone, Episode 2, right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, exclusively as it will be every week. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and we are here once again to discuss another selection of films that I've recently acquired to add to my collection over the last weeks, maybe a month here going before I decided to launch this show. Hopefully, you guys will continue to enjoy this. As of filming this, I've seen a generally positive response thus far. Hopefully, it'll keep going. If not, hopefully, you guys will let me know that this is something that you don't want to see anymore, at which point I can just stop it, quit while I'm ahead, so to speak. But let's get right into it today. Today I'm going to be showing off some more Dollar Tree titles that I've acquired over the last weeks. And there's no real rhyme or reason to these, unlike last show, which I featured, Shutter titles and movies that have the Spanish language cases going for them, the Spanish language artwork. No real rhyme or reason to these. They're just DVDs. No Blu-rays this week, but just a handful of DVDs, little over 10, that I've acquired, and I'm really curious to really start diving into some of these. Okay, so I'm gonna save these three on top for the last because I think that they're probably the coolest ones that I've acquired. So the first one I'm gonna discuss and show off is Paddington 2. Now, for those of you that tuned in recently to my review of The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, the newest Nicolas Cage film, Paddington 2 plays into the storyline there. And I just found it funny that I found this film at the Dollar Tree right around the time I saw the movie. As a matter of fact, I think I had found and scored the movie prior to seeing The Unbearable Weight, and I was cracking up every time Paddington 2 was mentioned, and my girlfriend didn't get it at the time. So after the film, I explained to her that I had just bought this at the Dollar Tree. Now, I haven't seen the original Paddington film or Paddington 2 yet, but I grew up with Paddington Bear, in books and cartoon form. So when I saw it there at Dollar Tree, I was like, all right, for a buck and a quarter, like I said last week, a buck and a quarter is about what I would have paid back in the day going to the warehouse, Blockbuster Video, Hollywood Video, etc. to rent a movie for the weekend. It's still cheaper than what it would cost at the Red Box to rent something. So if I buy it at Dollar Tree and it ends up sucking, I could just donate it to Goodwill, sell it in a yard sale, give it away, whatever. It didn't really cost me a whole lot. It's not like I went and I spent 10, 12, $15 to see this film in the theaters and then it sucked. I'm taking a lot less risk by buying it at Dollar Tree for a buck and a quarter. So Paddington 2 I thought was kind of cool, especially how it tied into The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which I saw right after buying it. The Carol Burnett Show, a collection of Carol's favorites. You know, these are going to be favorite episodes handpicked by Carol Burnett herself. I'm so looking forward to watching this. Carol Burnett, Vicki Lawrence, Tim Conway, in any event. The Carol Burnett Show was definitely before my time. It was airing or had just wrapped up its run around the time I was born. But Carol Burnett is a legendary comedian, and I'm going to be looking forward to watching this and seeing some of her hand-picked favorite episodes and bits. This next one has some French writing on it, and it's called Pete's Meteor. I believe it's a Canadian film. I assume that in the fact that it stars Mike Myers and Brenda Fricker, who both I believe are Canadian. It's Mike Myers' first dramatic role. Also stars Alfred Molina, Doc Ock. So we've got Wayne Campbell from Wayne's World. We've got Brenda Fricker, the bird lady from Home Alone 2. And we've got Doc Ock in a dramatic film. Definitely looking forward to getting into this and seeing what Mike Myers can do when he's not being Wayne or Austin Powers or Shrek or that stupid slapsticky comedy that he's best known for. I'm curious to see him in a dramatic role. I'm hoping it's going to be along the lines of a made for TV film that I saw many years ago called Doing Time on Maple Drive, which starred Jim Carrey. And in that, Jim Carrey played an alcoholic, a recovering alcoholic, and it was very, very much a departure from what you would see on him in Living Color and what he would go on to do in Ace Ventura and The Mask and Dumb and Dumber, etc. So I'm hoping that this will be along a similar type of role for Mike Myers, and it'll really help, change the way people look at him, even though this is obviously a very old film. Hustlers. We've got Constance Wu, Jennifer Lopez, Julia Stiles, Kiki Palmer, Lizzo, Cardi B. I'm not the biggest fan of Lizzo or Cardi B, but I did enjoy Jennifer Lopez there in the late 90s, early 2000s. And Julia Stiles, I'm down for just about anything she does. So again, $1.25 to see something a little bit current with Julia Stiles. Yes, please. This one was interesting to find. It's got a Kmart sticker on it if you look closely, but Kmart's have all but gone out of business. So apparently Dollar Tree has acquired their leftover stock. 34 Sherlock Holmes cases. And we're not just talking one Holmes. We're not just talking Basil Rathbone. We're talking Christopher Lee and someone that I never knew had played the role of Sherlock before, Ron Howard. That's right, Opie from The Andy Griffith Show, Richie Cunningham from Happy Days as Sherlock Holmes. That I'm going to be very curious to see. I know the history and the legends of Basil Rathbone and Christopher Lee. Ron Howard, that's a whole other can of worms, so to speak. That's going to be very, very curious. This is called The Size of Watermelons. And it's a multi-movie pack. That's the main movie, The Size of Watermelons, starring Paul Rudd. Okay, can't go wrong with Paul Rudd. Also has Donal Logue and Ione Skye in it. And then there's 4 additional movies on here. One called American Virgin with Jenna Dewan, who would marry Channing Tatum, and they've since separated, divorced. And Rob Schneider are both in that one. Far Out Man, which stars Tommy Chong of Cheech and Chong fame. Busted, which stars Corey Haim, one of the legendary Coreys, along with Corey Feldman. Feldman isn't in this one, just Haim. And then there's a movie called 50 Pills with Kristen Bell, Jane Lynch, and Michael Pena. So the casts of these other movies seem just as good as the Paul Rudd flick. So again, 5 movies for $1.25. What the hell, right? Tomorrow You're Gone, Stephen Dorff and Willem Dafoe. You know, you find one of these hole in the wall movies with Willem Dafoe and you're bound to be in for a good time. I had never heard of the Boondock Saints until I was shown it in a film class. It was such a low key cult classic of a movie. It's one of those that kind of flew under the radar, probably something similar to this. So to find another one of those hopefully treasure trove type of films with Willem Dafoe, the Green Goblin, Stephen Dorff, who I best know from playing Stuart Sutcliffe in the Beatles film Backbeat. You can go back and you can look at my review of that from last year if you don't know anything about the film Backbeat. He was also in the original Blade film with Wesley Snipes. So that's going to be an interesting little action flick. And then Michelle Monaghan is also in this film. I don't know a whole lot about her, but should be another cool one to take a look at. Literally right before Aaron. And I got this one just because of the 2 stars, Justin Long and Kobe Smulders. Justin Long, I know best from Zack and Miri Make a Porno and then the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, although I know he's done a ton of other stuff. Those are the movies I know him best from. Kobe Smulders, of course, Agent Maria Hill from the MCU. And then the movie also features John Cho, Dana Delaney, Leah Thompson, and Peter Gallagher. Again, a great supporting cast. I know absolutely nothing about the film except for what is written on the back here. But I saw Justin Long and Kobe Smulders, and I was like, okay. When I do a chick flick, spree like I usually do in February, I do half the month of chick flicks, half the month Black History Month. this is the type of film that I can throw in there. As I start to dwindle down some of the more popular fare, since I've already done stuff like Breakfast at Tiffany's and Pretty Woman, I'm going to need more chick flick, rom-com type of films, and this is the type of thing that can easily get penciled in there. Another one I got just for the cast is a film called Palms. Again, I know nothing about it except that it looks like older actresses as cheerleaders, but you've got Diane Keaton, Pam Grier, and Rhea Perlman. Yes, please. Just those three tend to lead me to believe that this is going to be funny as all get out, and I'm here for it. Especially Pam Grier and Rhea Perlman. Diane Keaton too, but just to a lesser extent. I always felt Rhea Perlman was incredibly underrated. Pam Grier, iconic. We're talking Foxy Brown, Coffee. We're talking Original Gangsters. We're talking Bones. We're talking Jackie Brown. We're talking so much stuff in Pam's history. See her in this with some of these other legendary women. I'm all about it. Now we get to the ones that I put off to the side, and these I got simply because they're in these metal tins. They almost kind of come off as steel books, but they're not because they're movie collections. First one is the American Gangster Collection, and it features films with Claude Rains, Jackie Gleason, Walter Matthau, Alan Ladd, Ann Baxter. 6 movies on 2 discs, the American Gangster Collection. In addition to that, there's the Big Tough Guys Collection. Again, movies with Humphrey Bogart, Robert Cummings, Mickey Rooney, Gene Cagney, James Cagney's sister, Peter Lorre, the Dead End Kids, Fred McMurray, Edmund O'Brien, all on this collection, the Big Tough Guys Collection. And then last but not least, Mob Boss. 6 films, again, 2 discs, 3 on each one, starring people such like Jack Palance, Kirk Douglas, Telly Savalas, Antonio Sabato, Barbara Bach, who either was or still is, I'm not 100% sure, I think she still is, the wife of Ringo Starr, and Oliver Reed. Again, 6 movies right here. So there's a whole lot of content that was purchased and acquired recently just from the Dollar Tree to go into my collection. What do you guys think? Have you guys seen any of these things? Have you seen or heard of The Size of Watermelons, Palms? Have you seen Paddington 2? What did you think of Hustlers? Have you seen Ron Howard as Sherlock Holmes? Let me know. Leave your thoughts and comments over here if you're watching the premiere, down here if you're watching on demand later in the day. Let's engage in that conversation, everyone, like I'm always talking about. Keep giving me that positive feedback. Keep liking these videos, sharing them. Share them with your family, your friends, other movie lovers, other cinephiles. Like my videos. It's going to help boost it up in the YouTube algorithms so I can eventually get monetized, hopefully by the end of the year. Got to try and get that push out there. I know you're going to eventually get tired of hearing me say it, but it's the only way that I'm going to get there, is if I push for it. Sometimes you have to will these things into happening. So by me putting it out there to you, you guys will hopefully reciprocate it, give it back to me so that I can accomplish this mission. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode 2 of the weekly acquisition report, The War Zone, right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow for another brand new installment of Renegade's Reviews, when I'll be discussing Central Intelligence, starring Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart. You're not going to want to miss out on that one right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, right here on an all-new episode of Renegade's Reviews. Thank you for watching The War Zone. and I'll be back next week with a brand new selection of movies for the weekly acquisition report. So long.